It happens in the grocery store, on the subway, across a restaurant. A baby, someone else's baby, a complete stranger, locks eyes with you and just stares. Not a glance, not a flicker. A full, unblinking, almost unsettling gaze. Like they're reading something written on the inside of your skull. You look away. You look back. They're still staring. Most people laugh it off. Make a funny face. Assume babies are just weird or bored or can't control their eyes yet. But developmental neuroscience tells a completely different story. What that baby is doing to you, in that moment, is one of the most sophisticated cognitive operations that exists in the known animal kingdom. And the fact that it feels like nothing to you is exactly what makes it so extraordinary. Let's start with the obvious explanation, because it sounds reasonable. Babies can't see very well. Their vision is blurry. They're drawn to high-contrast shapes and movement. You have a face. Faces have contrast. So they stare. Simple. Done. Except here's the problem. Researchers at the University of London showed newborns, babies just 9 minutes old, two images side by side. One was a simple face, the other was the same features, scrambled. Eyes where the mouth should be, nose off to the side. The babies turned toward the real face, 9 minutes old, before anyone had taught them anything. Before language, before memory, before they'd had a full meal. They already knew what a face was. And they already preferred it. This isn't about blurry vision. This is something that was loaded into the system before they ever opened their eyes for the first time. Here's where it gets genuinely strange. Scientists have a name for the region of the brain responsible for recognizing faces. It's called the fusiform face area. And in adults, it lights up like a Christmas tree on an fMRI, scanned the moment a face appears in their visual field. Now here's the thing that kept researchers up at night for years. Babies are born with an almost completely undeveloped cerebral cortex. The fusiform face area, in the way adults use it, doesn't exist yet. So how are they recognizing faces? The answer came from a team at Harvard Medical School. They discovered that newborns aren't using their cortex at all. They're using a far more ancient structure, a subcortical pathway that runs beneath conscious thought entirely. This system is so old, evolutionarily, that it predates mammals. It's the same basic circuit that lets a chick recognize its mother's silhouette before it can do anything else. Your baby isn't staring at your face with their brain. They're staring at it with something older than their brain. But why stare? Why the intensity? This is where it stops being cute and starts being almost philosophical. In 2019, a team of researchers at the University of Washington attached tiny EEG caps to the heads of infants and adults and sat them across from each other. They found something that had never been documented before. When a baby and a caregiver make eye contact, their brainwaves synchronize, not metaphorically, literally. The oscillating electrical patterns in two separate skulls begin to align, moving in the same rhythms at the same frequencies across the gap between them. The researchers called it neural coupling, and when they deliberately broke the eye contact, had the adult turn away or look at the ground, the synchronization collapsed instantly. What this means is that the stare isn't passive. It isn't the baby zoning out. It is an active attempt to link nervous systems. The baby is reaching out, across the space between two bodies, and trying to connect their mind to yours. Now, I need to tell you about a study that sounds like it was designed to break your heart. In the 1970s, a developmental psychologist named Edward Tronick created what he called the still face experiment. The setup is almost unbearably simple. A mother sits across from her infant. She smiles. She talks. She mirrors the baby's expressions. The baby laughs, reaches toward her, babbles back. The connection is immediate and alive. Then, on cue, the mother goes completely blank. No expression, no response. Just a still neutral face. Watch what happens. First, the baby tries harder. They point, they vocalize, they do everything in their repertoire to get a response. Then, within 90 seconds, something shifts. The baby turns away, hunches their shoulders. Their breathing changes. They begin to withdraw. In 90 seconds. Not because they were hurt, not because they were hungry. Because the face that was supposed to be readable had gone silent. What Tronick had discovered, and what decades of follow-up research confirmed, is that a baby's emotional and neurological development depends not just on being fed and held, but on being seen, on having their expressions met, reflected, responded to. The stare isn't one-directional. They're not just looking at you, they're waiting for you to look back. Here's something almost no one knows. In 2018, researchers at Cambridge published a study tracking gaze patterns in infants from 2 months to 12 months old. They found that by 4 months, babies weren't just looking at faces randomly. They were specifically tracking eye direction. Not whether you were looking at them, where exactly you were looking. And within moments, they would turn to look at the same thing. This behavior, called joint attention, is considered one of the most critical milestones in human cognitive development. It's the foundation of language, of learning, of everything that comes after. But here's the part that stops researchers cold. When they tested the same behavior in our closest genetic relatives, chimpanzees and great apes, the chimps didn't follow eye direction, they followed head direction. The whites of human eyes, the sclera, are uniquely large and uniquely visible compared to every other primate. We evolved them specifically to make our gaze readable to other humans. We are the only animal on Earth that evolved to make it easy for others to know where we're looking. And babies come preloaded with the software to read it. When a baby stares at your eyes, they aren't admiring them. They are decoding you, running the most important software in the human operating system, learning how minds work by watching yours. There's one more thing I need to tell you, and it's the thing that changes how this all lands. You know that feeling when a baby locks eyes with you? Even a stranger's baby. And for a moment you feel something shift? A warmth, a pull, something you can't quite name? That's not sentimentality, that's oxytocin, the same neurochemical that bonds mothers to newborns, that builds trust between friends, that deepens love between partners. A 2021 study out of Bar Ilan University measured oxytocin levels in both infants and adult strangers during brief eye contact interactions. Both parties spiked. Not just the parents, strangers. Within seconds of a baby holding their gaze. This is why you can't look away. This is why a staring baby across a restaurant table will derail a conversation. This is why you end up making faces at someone else's child for 10 minutes when you were just trying to buy coffee. The baby reached across the room with nothing but their eyes and rewired your brain chemistry. So the next time a baby locks onto you with that wide, unblinking, ancient stare, remember what's actually happening. They aren't zoning out. They aren't staring blankly. They aren't doing nothing. They are running a neural coupling attempt, reading your eyes with a circuit older than consciousness, searching for a face that will stare back, building the architecture of a human mind, one gaze at a time. And their brain is doing all of this before they can hold their own head up. We spend a lot of time wondering how smart babies might eventually become. Maybe the more interesting question is how extraordinary they already are. If this changed how you'll see the next baby that stares at you, subscribe and tell me in the comments, did a baby ever stare at you and make you feel something you couldn't explain? I want to hear it. And if you want to know why babies cry in the middle of the night even when everything is fine, that video is next. And the evolutionary reason is darker and stranger than you'd ever expect.